Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejas Vinavaditamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Sarvopanishado Ghavo Dogda Gopalanandana Partho Vatsasudir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahata Vasudev Vasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidharam. We have reached a very critical point in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and that is Shri Krishna has strategically and deliberately placed Arjuna in a situation which he finds most uncomfortable. In fact, the situation is so uncomfortable, it is so disturbing that Arjuna now collapses. Many times in our own life, these things happen. Life is going along very smoothly, but then we find ourselves in a situation which brings great stress and discomfort towards us. It can be an unexpected change in our health, an unexpected change in the nature of relationships, friends, families, unexpected change in work situation. And this change which comes catches us off guard. We are not prepared, we don't see it coming. Next thing you know, we are in the middle of it. And in the middle of it, we are panicking. We feel that we are drowning. We feel there are no options. And we feel utterly helpless. Helpless and hopeless sometimes. And this is the situation that Arjuna is in. He feels helpless and hopeless. Vishidan idam abravit. Vishidan, he has now collapsed. We saw yesterday that in order to face these situations, the first thing is we have to accept we are in this situation. We are in a situation where we may be confused, where we may be lacking the answers or even the skills to face the situation. But we must accept that we are here in this situation only. How do we accept that we are in this situation? We have to recognize that the situation is not a problem. When we label a situation as a problem, we feel that the cause of our sorrow, distress, anxiety is because of something outside of me. It is in the form of another person's behavior. It is in the form of a situation that is too difficult for me to manage. It is in the form of a hectic schedule, or people asking too much of me, demanding too much of me, not cooperating with me, not loving me, not accepting me, not showing affection towards me. But all of it is caused by someone and something outside. And therefore, our immediate reaction is to go and fix what is outside. Go to the person who is not showing enough affection and demand it from them. That you don't appreciate me enough. Go to the person who does not obey you and tell them that they're disobedient, difficult to control, uncooperative. Protest when anything is put in front of us. And when we have all our protests are exhausted and still the situation has not resolved, we then seek a method of escapism. How can I get out of this? How can I get away from this? How can I avoid this? This is currently how our life is operating. However, we find that running away from the problem does not eliminate the problem. Yelling at the problem does not eliminate the problem. In fact, yelling at the problem yells back at you louder. Because it depends on the power of the lungs of the person you are yelling at. Adults feel that they have strong lungs, but children will show you who has got stronger lungs, who has got greater determination, and who can scream and cry longer than what you can. That's why when man comes out as a baby, his lungs are so powerful, he's practicing that screaming. It's only as time goes on, his scream becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. But when he comes out, his power is maximum volume. So we try screaming at problems, they don't go away. We try running away from problems and we find they resurface. They resurface with different names and forms, but essentially, same problem. And all this is ineffective. And all this is failing because we have not got to the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is not someone or something outside, but it is something that is taking place inside. Yesterday we looked at an example of the weed in your garden. In your garden, the thing that sticks out immediately is the weed. We spend so much time caring for, tending to the plants and the flowers. But what sticks out like a sore thumb? The weed. It has leaves. It grows in different directions. And some weeds are such that they're quite attractive. You may mistake them for the actual flower, actually. See, I don't know much about gardening, but our garden in the ashram is quite large. So some of the things that I was looking after were actually the weeds only. It took me a while to figure out that I was actually watering the weed, tending to the weed, nurturing the weed, where the actual plant was being destroyed because I was most vigorously engaged in caring for the weed. These weeds come up in all different forms. And if you just pull the head and the top of the weed, immediately it looks like weed is gone and garden looks pretty again. Huh? This is when children and all that, they sometimes do this. They say weed and they just pull the top off. And the person who knows how to garden, this is the worst thing you can do is just pull the head off. Huh? Because once you pull the head off, you cannot access the roots. It's harder to get it from the root. So the head of the weed may look unpleasant. It sits above the soil. But the cause of that weed is not the leaf that is sitting on top. It is the seed that is sitting below. And as long as that seed remains, this weed is going to come back. This is exactly the same with our problems in life. The problems in our life are displayed externally, but their source is something internal. It is in the form of a false expectation. It is in the form of an incorrect belief or understanding. It is in the form of an unreasonable insistence or attachment. Or it is in the form of a physical addiction. At different levels, we have got seeds buried within us. Physically, it's an addiction. Many of us now have got, they now talk about what's called phantom vibration syndrome. Have you heard of phantom vibration syndrome? That's when you're so addicted to your phone that you feel it's going off. Well, hey, nothing is happening. So you put it on vibration, then you actually don't know. So you have to look. No one has called you. It's the same as it is every week. No one calls you. But you feel that someone across the world, someone is thinking of you. You check the screen, no one is thinking of you. But this is a physical addiction that has now taken place, that physically, we are feeling things which are not there. Emotionally, we have very strong attachments in the form of insistence. Insistence on how people behave, relate, and show affection to me. That people must show affection to me in a particular way at a particular time. And these insistencies can become very unreasonable. So when I walk home after long days' work, I want everyone in the house to be smiling, to be clean, to be cooperative. I want all my children to line up because King of the Castle has come. And I want all of them to say, Pitashri, Namaskar. Would you like some water? Some food? Can I take your shoes? But when I walk in, it's a war zone. Quite the opposite. One person running this way, one person running that way, mother chasing half of them. And I am greeted by, you need to help me over here. You need to get on board now. I just opened the door. You need to be on board now. So I get greeted with one dirty baby filled with a full nappy. Here. No, I don't. Then you start cooking. Either you're cooking or looking after that child. You choose. Because of that, I get very disturbed. Because I expect that when I walk in, I want to be greeted with some affection, peace, smile. Even when you talk to your teenager, how was your day? And the poor parent comes with this, enthusiasm. How was your day? And the child, And I always feel very sorry for that parent, because it tries different ways to engage that child. Oh, did you go swimming today? You had tennis this evening? Karate? I gave that up 3 years ago. You're thinking of my brother. So gets this very jaded response. And that's frustrating, isn't it? Because I'm expecting and insisting upon a particular behavior from another person. And therefore I say, oh, my teenager is causing me headaches. There's a secret about teenagers. Every teenager's purpose is to cause you headaches only. That is the purpose only. Because you have so much fun when they were children, You can't have pleasure without pain. So pleasure start, now some pain must come. But I get upset. Why is that person not cooperating with me? I'm seeking some sort of, insisting upon some sort of emotional affection. Smile at me, talk to me, engage me. And I'm not getting it. And then intellectually, I have very fixed concepts about this world. And even if they are wrong, I still want to hold on to them. Life's purpose is to correct these misunderstandings, release us from these attachments, and free us from addictions. This is the path of evolution. To become free. To become free of physical slavery, emotional slavery, and intellectual delusion. When we become free of this is the state of perfection. Therefore, each event in life, its purpose is to bring us towards this freedom. It comes in different manners. One method is through advice. Upadesh. We are given advice. Advice from elders. Advice from teachers. Advice from mentors. But most of us are quite adverse to advice. We don't like being told what to do. So we always say, this is my life. I will do what I want to do. You had your own life. You made your own decisions. Now my life, my decision. Okay, very good. So life says, okay, you're allowed to ignore our advice and upadesh. Please ignore. But then it says, I must teach you in another way. And that other way is to bring you an event which forces you to confront these inner weaknesses. Because the words of advice have fallen on deaf ears, it now says it is time to create an event which is going to wake you up. Words could not wake you up. The conch could not wake you up. So Bhagavan has got more than a conch in his hand. Chaturbhuja Narayana has got a few different things. Conch is one, but when conch fails, he has another instrument. It's called gada. Gada is not as pleasant. Mace. Ting. One knock on your head. And when things are really getting serious and you're not paying attention, in spite of small problems coming, you're still not changing. Then he has even better things. It's called Sudarshan Chakra. Then he sent Sudarshan Chakra, and that's a bit more serious. When we don't address these seeds of weakness within us, then after refusing pleasant advice, after avoiding a few problems, eventually the situation comes to confront you face on. And that is exactly what has happened to Arjuna. He has been living without true clarity. And now he has to be tested. Are you fit to now face this war? And to be fit to face this war, you must be strong at all levels. Physical, emotional, intellectual. Thus, Sri Krishna deliberately puts him in front of the two people that would create issues for him. Emotional conflict. Bhishma and Drona. It is extremely strategic and deliberate, and this is the nature of life. Life is not haphazard. Life is not accidental. Life is not random. It is extremely scientific, deliberate, and conscious. So the events that I am meeting are the events I am supposed to meet. As unpleasant as they are, I need to face them. And in facing these events, either I can be crushed because I continue to blame the world outside, or I begin to take responsibility for the situation. And how does one take responsibility? Start investigating. What is the seed within me that has created this weed outside? Yesterday we looked at I gave a few examples of how certain thoughts within us create situations outside. When a person has got the thought that I cannot say no to others, then it creates an external situation where the person feels they're being taken advantage of. When a person has got a thought within them that I must be in charge and everything must go according to my will, that need to control, then that manifests in the form of another personality who has a stronger and more dominant will than yours. Because it's to show you can't be in control all the time. When a person has got a thought that I know everything, I'm smarter than all these people, and I don't listen to anyone's advice because I know best. Then this person creates a situation where their own knowledge can fail them, where their own opinion is incorrect. And it may lead to a public debate, argument, where they're actually defeated and bested by someone much younger or junior to them. And that situation was only to bring light, to shed light upon what is going on within. If we can view life's problems in this way, then actually they fail to be problems, and all of a sudden they become catalysts or instruments to shed light upon some inner working that is not taking place correctly within me. some thought, some attachment, some fixation within me that is not entirely healthy. A person who can see life in this way is a person who can use the failures, confrontations, and conflicts of life to become better and not bitter. But when we don't see it in this light, then actually life has got the power to crush us. And that's when we become bitter, hopeless, despondent, vishad. So change in attitude is required. That each and every situation is deliberate. I need to investigate in here. What is the problem? What is my fixation? So this leads to a very important practice, and that practice is called introspection. Where daily we must spend time with our own mind, our own thoughts and our own feelings. And we must review them, analyze them, become aware of them. We have to start becoming consciously aware of what is happening physically. What physical behaviors or behavior patterns do I have? Emotionally, what emotional patterns of reaction do I have? That means which situations trigger my emotions in what way? So emotional pattern of reacting. And then what is the belief, the hidden belief behind all these things? There is a hidden belief which is incorrect. An incorrect estimation of the world or an incorrect estimation of yourself that is now playing out. I'll give you an example. That a person may have a behavior which is very attention seeking. That they are constantly looking for attention from other people. They're constantly looking for affection from other people. So sometimes they do very little work, but they're always asking, oh, what do you think? What do you think? Is it good? Is it good? I did this. I did this. Such little thing you had done. So I placed the water over here. Do you like the water? Was the water good? Everyone was fine. Water was okay. Water should be hotter or colder? What should the water be? It's water only. As long as there's water in it, we should be okay. We have not put poison in it or anything like that. We should be okay. But a person can get so consumed with that one small act. Why is that behavior like that? Why is there so much inquiry and so much seeking validation, seeking appreciation? Why? Because emotionally, the person feels unloved. So they're seeking acknowledgement from you. They're seeking your attention. They're seeking your affection. So they want kind words of consideration. Thank you. Appreciate. Oh, this is so well done. You know, the cup is exactly the one I wanted. The water is perfect temperature. Very happy. They're seeking this. Now, what is the belief behind that? So emotionally, seeking affection from others, which is leading to this questioning behavior, insecure behavior, always asking, how was everything? Is it okay? Is it okay? What's the belief behind it? The belief behind it is essentially, I am not loved. I am not loved and I don't feel worthy of love. This belief is now playing out at each level. And finally, the people around them then say, enough of this behavior. How much do I need to go on? saying, I love you, everything is wonderful. How much do I need to do this? Huh? How much attention do you need? That when you walk out the house, 3 minutes, I have to send you a text message. Are you okay? Have you made it to the car? Is the car turned on? I miss you. I just went to the supermarket. Why you to say, I miss you, have to be said? Huh? Now do you see how a belief, an incorrect belief, I am not lovable, I am not worthy of being loved, no one loves me, then plays out in this emotional yearning for affection, and then finally expresses in the form of behavior. If we can start to recognize this level, we must trace it back to the emotions and then trace it back to the intellectual belief. If we are willing to go on this journey, you are now taking the first step to taking responsibility for your life. But if you're not willing to start on this journey, then life is always going to have control over you. So, this is the nature of the situation Arjuna is in. And now we are going to see systematically, bit by bit, Arjuna's symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of depression. And now I'll give you some very practical tips also on how to manage this anxiety and depression. Okay? So we'll now chant the verses beginning with Arjuna Uvacha on 28. And everyone can come and sit. Chant.
Kripaya paraya vishto Vishidan abravit Arjuna uvacha Drishdvemam swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum samupastitam Sidanti mama gatrani Mukham cha parishushyati Vepatuscha sharire me Roma harshascha jayate.
Okay. So yesterday we had seen Kripaya Paraya Vishta Vishidan Idam Abravid. Having collapsed, overwhelmed with self-pity, Arjuna now replies to Sri Krishna, Vishidan, depressed, dejected. And what does he say? Drishtva imam swajanam Krishna. Hey Krishna, having seen swajanam. Swajanam is a very important word. It means my own people. Swajanam. Having seen my own people, yuyutsam samupastitam, arrayed and ready to fight. Sidanti mama gatrani, my limbs, sidanti, droop, collapse, weakened. Mukam cha parishushati, my mouth has become parched and dry. Vepatuscha sharire me, my skin now is beginning to shiver. Vepatuscha sharire me, my body is beginning to shiver, tremble. Roma harshascha jayate, and now my hair is beginning to stand on end. Roma harsha, horripilation it is called. Now you see all these are physical symptoms that are given. Now you can see 5,000 years ago they understood all these things. So they advanced knowledge of biology, anatomy, physiology, well known. So how many points have been given in terms of the physical symptoms of this anxiety? This is called the immediate situation. This is the panic attack that is happening now. So Arjuna is experiencing panic attack. And it comes in this way. Mouth become dry. Limbs become weak. And all of a sudden, shivering, trembling. And hair standing on end. These are physical signs. What do we do at this time? This physical collapse is taking place because of his mental collapse. The collapse of his mind and intellect. His mind and intellect has become divorced. And through this brutal divorce, this rent, this tearing apart of the mind and intellect, body just collapses. This happens to all of us. Whenever internally we are very disturbed, overwhelmed with disturbance, then physically you will find that the body becomes weak, completely weakened. That weakness is not because you failed to do your exercise today. That weakness is because mentally, we have become shattered personality. So in the panic attack, this is what happens. Sweating takes place. Body feels like it's burning. You can't do anything. That requires consistent, concerted effort. So how do we take care of this? At this level, when you're experiencing a panic attack, you will need to deal with these physical symptoms first. Only a person with very strong mind will be able to deal straight with the higher levels. But the best thing is, take care of the physical. And what are some of the things that we can do to take care of the physical? The first thing is, bring your attention to the physical. Because at this point in time, the attention is lost in overwhelming emotions. Overwhelming emotions which are spiraling out of control. Therefore, bring your full attention to your physical personality. Your hands, your legs, your arms, your body. And actually try to get moving. Because the more you sit still, the more energy will flood towards that overwhelming emotion. The minute you have to get up, attention is divided now. Attention has to move towards moving the body. Ensuring the body can function, can get going. So once you start moving the body, something simple, something rhythmic. So of course, deep breathing helps. Because deep breathing will help to bring your attention shifted from the emotion back into the present situation and the physical. So even just taking deep breaths, that slows things down. Having taken deep breaths, start moving. Flood the senses with something positive. Distract, engage the senses in something positive. Soothing music becomes very helpful. Even visual, something visual which can engage the eyes to help soothe the mind because of this temporary overwhelming sensation. So a very pleasant sight to see. Now all of us have got on our computers and all that, some picture on the back, wallpaper. So now what is seen through that? Generally, vistas of nature are very soothing to mind. Anything where your eyes can be engaged in something soothing, your ears are hearing something that is soothing, and your body can now physically start moving. And this is why even one of the main parts of dealing with a depressed mind is exercise becomes very important. Simply running, going for a jog, doing some exercise, it creates a lot of changes physiologically. Chemicals are released, which then help to restabilize negative mood and emotion. Getting outside becomes very important. Exposure to sunlight becomes very important. Scientifically, it is known that sunlight has a big impact on our mood. And that's why we know countries that are exposed to minimum amount of sunlight, there are higher populations of depression. So we need some exposure to sunlight. So get outside. You have to make these conscious choices. Otherwise we become overwhelmed and we get stuck in that rut. At that point in time, even when you're feeling quite overwhelmed, then it is best to engage in something which feels good for you at that time. A hobby, something light, something which does not require heavy intellectual expenditure or concentration, because the intellect will not be able to operate while the mind is overwhelmed and flooded with emotions. So it has to be something very light. Something that is fun, but as we said, active, keeps you moving, engages the body. It must shift your attention back to the physical. If you can shift your attention back to the physical, then you can overcome this momentary peak of panic. You must never forget that these panic attacks or these sudden overwhelming feelings, they don't last very long. They have very short bursts. They spike and then they drop. So you only need to manage or master the moment. This is not something that you have to do for the next 2 to 3 hours. It is just conquering that moment, that 5 minutes where everything all of a sudden you become extremely flustered. It is those 5 minutes that you have to take care. And these are the ways. So physical engagement, an engrossment or engagement with the senses and bringing your attention back to your breathing. Nowadays they have a lot of things on the internet also do with meditation and relaxation meditation. Meditation has many different varieties, but at this point in time when you're under panic, you can only turn towards a relaxation meditation. You cannot do contemplation. You cannot do a japa. You cannot do any of these things. You have to do something which engages the senses, the eyes and the ears, and it brings your full attention back to the present moment. Bring your attention back to the present. So stimulating, soothing music that engages you. As you make that music louder, the voice in your head becomes softer. That voice which is crying out about the catastrophe that is taking place, the imaginary catastrophe, that voice becomes softer because it becomes drowned out by the noise outside. The wild visualizations that are going on in your mind of impending doom, these visualizations are rent asunder by seeing something very soothing. Even simple things, those who have pets, then pets are very helpful at this time. I know, especially dogs, they say. Dogs are very soothing to be around because dogs are very affectionate. A dog, you can be in any mood, he's always happy. They're always happy just to see the master. They're very happy. But dog all of a sudden just brings a great joy to you. The pet brings great joy to you. And it distracts or engages the senses into the present moment and doesn't allow it to get lost in wild imaginations which can lead to catastrophic thinking. So this is how we handle the immediate panic situation. And these techniques you must have organized. At the time of panic, while you're trying to think, now what music should I listen to? What things should I look at? That's not going to work. These are things you must have already ready to go. And once that panic goes off, then you just play one tune. That tune helps to bring your mind some peace and calm. So these must be prepared. Okay. So these are the physical level. Now let us see what happens at the mind level. Okay. This is the next verse, verse 30.
गाण्डीवं शंसते हस्तात् वक्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः.
Now we see the first line, Gandhivam samsrate hasta tvakchaiva paridahyate. This is also physical symptoms. My Gandiva is falling from my hand. Gandiva is the bow he was carrying. Now mighty warrior can't even hold his bow. And tvakchaiva paridahyate, skin is burning. So the physical symptoms. But now the next one is very interesting. Nacha shaknomi avastatum brahmati ivacha me manaha. Me manaha brahmati. My mind is whirling, whirling and whirling. This is what happens when that person is having this immediate panic attack. All of a sudden, this whirling takes place. Disorientation, inability to focus, sometimes you don't know quite where you are and what's happening. There can be confusion, feeling a bit out of your own mind space. So this whirling of the mind, it almost can physically lead to a sense of dizziness and giddiness, Sometimes people even have like nausea and stomach. So the stomach becomes very sensitive at that time. Vomiting can take place. They want to vomit. Because the mind is actually whirling so much that it's creating these physical symptoms. Fear is connected with stomach. So when excessive amount of fear, some stomach problem will take place. Higher levels of anxiety, some stomach problem will take place. That's why it's interesting just to know, if you're a personality that has issues with your stomach, you should actually keep an eye on how much anxiety you carry daily. You may be a person who has a lot of daily anxiety, a bit more stress-prone individual, and this is now manifesting as stomach issues as well. So now the mind is whirling. What do you do? When the mind is whirling, any task all of a sudden looks colossal. Even making a meal looks like a 6-month project, isn't it? The smallest thing all of a sudden just becomes huge. And that's why even daily functioning becomes very difficult, because daily functioning may require a concerted effort to take place. Whether to cook a meal, whether to get ready for work, to get children ready, to get the rest of the house organized. All of a sudden, this seems momentous, colossal, an impossible task. It's all of a sudden a Mount Everest to climb. When the mind is Brahmati, when it is wandering, your daily function looks an impossibility. How do you deal with this? You have to now reduce the size of the task. The task which was a functional task now has to be broken down to smaller and smaller and smaller components. So you have to make very, very small tasks. Very simple tasks must now be given. Nothing too large. You have to start focusing on this immediate task. So stay small, but you must stay focused. Bring your focus to something very small. Just bring your focus to brushing your teeth. Because many people wake up with panic attack, na? So your focus may be just to get to the bathroom, wash your face. That's it. And this alone is the focus. Don't start thinking, oh, but then after that I have to make breakfast, after that lunch has to be done, after that kids have to be woken up, oh, have they packed this, oh, we have to get this permission slip signed, oh, have to do that, oh, presentation was a... Don't go this far. If you go this far, stay in bed. You won't get out of bed. Mine will take you. Finished. Start extremely small. My task is to get from my bed to the bathroom. That is it. And put some water on my face. This much is my task. As you do these small tasks, you must try to deliberately focus on these small tasks. Bring full attention to them. Do not allow anything else to come in the way. Forget about the phone call and do not look at your phone. At this point in time when you're experiencing a panic attack or this overwhelming emotion, you must disconnect from all technology. You cannot be connected because you know the minute you pick up the phone and all these messages sitting there. Oh, there's an email I was supposed to send I haven't sent. And this, oh, attachments have to be opened. How long are they taking to download? Heart palpitations are increasing. Don't look at your phone. Do not open an iPad, a laptop. Stay completely away from them. Disconnect from all internet. You have to disconnect. Because that will allow the whole world to flood back into your mind and again, exaggerate. You have to deal now with the immediate situation in front of you. With me getting from the bed to the bathroom. That is it. You know you won't even be able to engage with other people at this point in time. Because anyone asks you a question, that'll be it. That'll start World War III or IV, some houses 5, 6 and 7. Plenty have gone ahead. And then once you yell at that person, then you have the regret after that. Why did I yell? Now I feel bad at yelling at them. So compounded with your panic is some guilt. A whole masala of negative emotions is now going on in your mind. Best to remain quiet. Don't talk to anyone at that time. Remain quiet and remain on small but focused tasks. That's what we have to focus on. That is how to maintain the immediate poise. This is just dealing with the peak of that emotion. Now let us see the next thing. The next thing is verse 31. What is the next symptom that takes place?
Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava na cha shreyo nupashyami hatva swajanamahave.
Actually, one other point that I did not give. When the mind is whirling and it's very blurred perception, one thing is actually get your bearings. Try to figure out where you are, what time it is, and who else is around you. Because sometimes these things happen in the office, and then when you wake up, you don't know where you are actually. Sometimes it happens in the afternoon. You have afternoon rest, and then you're completely lost as to what time of the day is. So one of the things, try to figure out where you are, what time it is, and who's around you. This is one thing to focus on at that immediate time. Now it's very interesting. What happens to Arjuna after this? His mind is whirling. And as his mind is whirling, now wonderful things starts happening. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. All of a sudden, pashyami, I am seeing. Viparitani nimittani, that means evil omens. I am seeing all bad fortunes. I am seeing all disastrous things about to take place. The jackals are howling. Huh? And some people, when they hear jackals howling, then they feel that is a bad omen. Huh? Thunder. I think rain is taking place. Rain. Bad sign. Black cat. Black cat went past me. That's your cat. It is not. You bought a black cat. Now the cat is walked past you, and now there's some superstition. Don't buy black cat if there's an issue you have. Get white cat, brown cat, any other. But black cat gone past me. That's your pet only asking what is wrong with the master. Some people under ladders, they get very nervous. Then don't crawl under ladders. Don't keep ladders lying around your house. Huh? All of a sudden, we start reading into all these wonderful superstitions, is it not? And all different superstitions come to our mind. All the things our grandmothers told us, All those wonderful things our grandmothers told us. All of a sudden, they start playing out in front of us. Oh. What is taking place now is called mind projection. You are now projecting things which are not there. This is exactly what is happening to Arjuna. He's beginning to see things and hear things which are not taking place. And then he's reading into these things to justify his current emotional state. So he's now reading into different situations that have taken place. He pulled the milk out, poured the milk. Milk was gone bad. Milk has gone bad. Don't leave the house today. Milk has gone bad. Don't leave that. Why is it milk? Because you don't buy fresh milk. It's a problem. And when you use it, you leave it out overnight. So of course it's gone bad. Or nothing to do with some evil omen that today is a bad day. This is called the superstitious mind. The superstitious mind starts regressing and trying to find some sort of meaning in meaningless things. And the meaning that it's looking for is one and one alone. Justification of my current emotional state. That is it. So everything is interpreted so that my emotional state becomes justified. But what's actually happening is this is a level of mental projection. We are beginning to see things which are not there. And this is a power that our mind possesses. Our mind possesses the power of projection. It is called Vikshepa Shakti. Vikshepa means that which is thrown. Something which is thrown is called Vikshepa. The capacity to throw or project things is a capacity the mind has. It is something we need because it allows us to plan for the future. It allows us to visualize. It allows us to create. But the negative aspect of this Vikshepa Shakti is when we start projecting and seeing things which are not there, and then we become scared of them. It is the power of superimposition. Capacity to project and then get lost in the projection. To get lost in the projection. This is the danger. Now you see, this is actually a very fundamental principle of Vedanta actually. That our life is a combination of reality plus projection. Even now, all of us have got some mental projection going on. So as you're sitting in this room, all of us are seeing the same thing. There's one speaker who's giving a talk. But some people are projecting. How much longer to go? I don't even have any anxiety. But I'm becoming depressed. Sitting in this room, he's talking all these symptoms. I'm feeling I have those symptoms only. I want to go outside. So one person will walk away saying, Saturday night I should have gone out to my friend's house. Why did I come and sit in this Gita lecture? Huh? Another person, oh, Swamiji, wonderful talk. Oh, I learned so much today. It was wonderful. Huh? Now, how is it that two people are seeing the same object and experiencing the same event, but are walking out with different experiences? Because part of our experience is a reality, the other part is projection. It is naturally going on right now. The danger we face is when we start giving reality to the projection. When we fail to recognize the projection as projection, and we start taking projection and turning it into reality. This is when we start becoming deluded. And it is in this delusion that the mind now has got the capacity or full reign to run wild. Allow its imaginations to run wild. Get lost in those imaginations and overwhelmed by the feelings that are created by them. We love doing this so much. We are so fond of it that we pay $20 to go to a movie theater and do this. We pay good hard-earned money to go live in the world of projection and illusion, isn't it? And what happens? We all go, nice theater like this, and one white screen comes down. And 300 people have paid $20 to stare at a white screen. But it is on that white screen the lights that go on. And in those lights, names and forms are created. And with those names and forms, at some point in time, I become identified with one of the characters. About this person, oh, poor person. From the very start of the film, no one liked him. No one loved him. His mother only said, "You're stupid, Buddhu." And you connect with that. Why? Because that's exactly what your mother called you. So you feel, oh, such pavam case, pitiful person. And you feel, I hope he succeeds. He may not even be the main character, but you root for him, isn't it? And you see how we get lost in the projection? We are actually only watching moving lights. But don't we take them for real? That at some point in time, tear comes to our eyes. And that's when you have to be careful. Anyone else is looking. So anyone else is looking. No, some dust on it. You know, a lot of dust in this. They should clean these theaters. They don't clean them. The problem is that. So you have to pretend some dust by going teary after that. Some people don't care what other people think. They cry only. They cry. They have tissue box, everything ready to go. This is called tearjerker film. So this one is definitely going to make me sad. But I'm still going to pay $20. My own life makes me sad, but I'd rather pay $20 to experience this projection. Now, this is the fondness that we have for the world of projection. And because of this fondness for living in a projected world, we lose track of reality. And in projection and imagination, you can create anything and you can exacerbate it. You can make it larger, you can make it more threatening, you can make it more engrossing, you can make it more catastrophic. Your mind has got that power inherent within it. And when the mind detaches from the intellect, then this imagination is allowed to run wild. And all of a sudden, reality is lost. We lose track of facts and we get lost in fiction. Is it not whenever you have an emotional or heated argument or debate with a person, and then you go to tell your friend, and then they said this, and I can't believe they said this, and the boss went and did this, and I can't believe this happened. And the worst thing is when you're with a person who wants facts. Because that person said, no, wait. Did they say exactly those words? What exactly did the boss say? You know, this was the gist of it. I don't know exact words, but you know, the way he looked at me, he may as well have been saying those words. You are the most incompetent, foolish employee that I've ever had in the history of this organization. All he asked you to do was just change the signature on your email. Huh? But now you have projected all these wonderful things. Huh? Now, when mind Brahmati starts whirling, then it starts seeing things which are not there. Why? Disconnected from reality. So it is very important that we get back to reality. We have to challenge projection by getting more knowledge and understanding of reality. Find the facts. When you find the facts, the fiction dissolves. So we have to learn to get grounded. We have to learn to recall exact words that were spoken, exact situation that took place. Otherwise, our mind is allowed to create an event which actually never took place. And is it not, if somebody else was in that room when they saw this happen, they'll say, actually, that's not what actually took place. I think they're overreacting a little bit, isn't it? The third party always feels overreaction. Why overreaction? Because that's not what took place actually. Huh? And that's why whenever two people are fighting, you can never listen to one person's side of the argument. Because you know that there will be a loss of reality and all of a sudden a large projection. So you've got to bring the other person in, and the other person, when they retell the story, something completely different took place. Is it not? It's like watching two different movies. Huh? And you're wondering how the one event has been interpreted in two different ways. Huh? Lost in projection. Now this is exactly what happens with our fears. We have a level of fears which are justified. But we have a very large level of fears which are unjustified. Unjustified fears are called phantom fears. Imaginary fears, projected fears, things that have never taken place, that are highly unlikely to take place, but things which you choose to pay attention to. You have chosen to feed, to pay attention and feed that fear. And when you feed that fear enough of your attention, it goes from appearing as phantom to real. And it changes over from an unjustified fear to what appears to be a justified fear. And that's because we have lost sight of reality. Now a classic example always happens with parents and children. Huh? So now your teenage son is now 18 years old. Wants to go out for a party. And you tell him, 11:30. Report back 11:30. Of course, for him, 11:30 party hasn't even started actually, you know. 11:30 people are just getting to the event. 11. Huh? Now what happens? That parent sits in the house. That night there's no sleep going on. And put some TV on. Even TV is going on, not paying attention to anything they're watching. Then try book, newspaper, iPad, start scrolling through many things. But then you come across a news article that in Russia, 18-year-old teenager was kidnapped from a birthday party. Oh! And all of a sudden, 18-year-old, my child is 18-year-old, birthday party, my child went to birthday party. Russia, well, not quite Russia, but it's close enough. It's close enough to cause me a lot of anxiety. So all of a sudden, now these things are escalating. He said, what's happened? What happened to the boy? He got kidnapped. He was drunk. He was found on the side of a street, and thugs came in a van. They picked the boy up, took him, drove him out. Parents don't know where he is now. Brahmati iva me manaha. Mind is whirling. You are seeing things which are not taken. So now all of a sudden you are thinking of your son at this party. And you are thinking that he is now drinking away. And he's collapsed on the driveway. And now a van is coming through. And why they want to take your son? No one wants your son. But you feel that they come to take the son because of ransom. You didn't read that the boy that was kidnapped in Russia was the son of the prime minister. Therefore, there was meaning in kidnapping him. Your son is not the son of any prime minister, chief guest, nothing. He is the son of the servant who is running the house only. That who he is the son of. Dasasya dasaha. He is the servant of the servant. He is very low. He does not have much position. So actually, I think if they were to kidnap your child, then you could demand them money to take the child back. That is the nature of your child. That if you take my child, I don't want him back, and you have to pay me to accept him back. Or you can look after him, his education, his late nights, his whining, his need for Wi-Fi, internet. You deal with him for 1 week. I'll enjoy some peace. This is the nature of our child. But now all of a sudden my child has got this high value placed on his head. He's of extreme importance to the society, and therefore people in hoods driving around in vans are going to kidnap him. Now that point in time, that parent has just wild imagination. Now, the first thing, text message, phone call. Hey, how is everything? But what's happening? He's not answering any phone call. And then you start thinking, he's not answering. Text message, are you okay? Are you okay? Now what does he see on his phone? He's sitting in actually the neighbor's house. There are 3 other people because his friends don't have many friends. They're staying up at night, and what are they doing? Gaming. And while they're gaming, he looks at his phone. Amma missed phone call. Amma missed phone call. Amma missed phone call. Amma missed phone call. Amma, how are you? Where are you? When are you coming back? What is the time? 9:23. 9:23. Amma missed phone call. Amma. Now, do you think he's going to respond to this series of frantic calls coming from Amma? 9:23. Curfew is 11:30. He needs to be in the house. He's 2 doors down. He's sitting with 2 other boys. There's no alcohol, but all they are doing is playing games. Now this is the reality of what's going on. But you see the projection where she is living. The parent is living in another world. And because of that, seeing all wonderful things. And in the minute that child comes home, all of a sudden, isn't it? Where have you been? What do you mean, where have I been? I told you where I was going. You only dropped me off there. What were you doing? Was there any alcohol? Were there any people with vans around the area? Hooded personalities there? I saw your friend, he came. He had a hat. It was black. Is he part of some gang or what? Be careful, I think he's trying to kidnap you. Huh? Now you see how things spiral out of control? One level, is called justified fear. The other level is called unjustified fear. Most of the time, we are living at the level of unjustified imagined fears. Fears which have never taken place. Events which never manifested. But we spend most of our time and mental effort engaged in these. And as you engage and live in this world, you actually miss the world of reality. The actual world in front of you is missed. And you are living in a world of fear, suspicion. And all of a sudden, that suspicion, when projected onto the other person, then creates a rift in the relationship. Living in our world of projections disconnects us from the reality. So the people in front of us become very frustrated. Because they take it as, you don't trust me. You should know me by now. I only have 3 friends. There's very little chance of me being invited to any raging parties. I don't have a social life. And if you check my phone, most of the WhatsApp and text messages are from mother, father, and sister. That's it. So I'm not that popular. But all these things. So each time this fear starts coming, we now have to start categorizing fear. Projected or real? Yes, there are some real fears in life. They are valid. That if a person continues on with a very unhealthy lifestyle, then yes, there can be unhealthy ramification physically. But that a single event is going to cause such a catastrophe, that can be an imagination. So we have to keep looking back at our own track record. How do we interpret situations? Are we prone to projecting? And keep an eye on this. Because some of us have got a stronger power of projection. Seeing calamities didn't take place. Assuming that your child is going to fail every exam. Why? Because they walk out of the house on the exam day with a smile on their face. And because your child has a smile on their face, you think they're so callous, they're so lazy, they're so careless with what they do. They have to fail. Because only serious people pass. Isn't it? So every time the child is smiling, you're thinking, something is cooking. Even though I'm working so hard for a happy family, when I see the smile on that family, I'm suspicious. What's going on here? What's going on here? So start noting these things. And start trying to recognize how much am I projecting and how much is reality. Projections means things which are highly unlikely to take place. 1 in a million. Yeah? About things which are 1 in a million, you cannot consume your energy and attention in these things. A comet may come and hit Melbourne. Yeah, it's very possible. It's not to say things can't happen. But am I going to spend my entire weekend now building a bunker underground so that the comet, if it hits, I'll be prepared? These are called phantom fears, unjustified. So keep checking the track record of your own mind. Has it got a habit of projecting? And if you know you've got a habit of projecting, then don't express at that time, and in fact, try to bring yourself back to reality. Check the facts. Be clear about the facts. And follow the facts. If your child or your loved one has never disobeyed you, then why now have you become so suspicious of their behavior? If the person has got a very poor track record and breaks every rule, then it's justified to be suspicious that they don't hold their word. But if a person who does hold their word now gives you their word, then all of a sudden, why be suspicious of that? It's unjustified because they have been reliable in the past. Yeah? So in this way, we must learn to assess the difference between justified and unjustified fears. Create a journal. And with this journal, start writing down all the fears that harass you. And next to them, put justified or unjustified. The justified fears, we've already looked at how to manage. I've already given you many tips on how to deal with fears. And more will come. And unjustified, you have to just learn to let go. Don't pay attention to them. Focus on your reality. Focus on your present. Bring yourself back to the here and now. If it is 9:23, then I have got no valid reason to sit there and be anxious because a child who has agreed to come at 11:30 is not in the house. If 9:23 is 9:20, if it's 12:30, then you have reason. But not at 9:20, isn't it? Focus on the facts. This is how you keep yourself grounded. Now, so far, we have seen the impact physically and we have seen the impact emotionally. How emotions come to hijack the mind. It starts whirling and then it starts projecting. But the rest of chapter 1 is very interesting because now you will see how the emotions hijack the intellect. And this is the most dangerous of all the hijackings that take place. That once the intellect becomes hijacked, the clever little intellect learns to justify its own weaknesses and projections. And this is where the real danger takes place, because all of a sudden my projection appears to be sensible, appears to be logical, appears to be rational. And many people who feel they are very rational, logical people are actually not rational, logical people, but in fact, their intellects have been hijacked by a very strong and overwhelming emotion. And because of this emotion, they are now justifying their feelings rather than inquiring into the reality. They're now determined to make the projection a reality. And one who is skilled in thinking becomes more convincing to deal with. Convincing to themselves and convincing to others. But the bottom line is they're still living in a projection. This is now what is going to happen to Arjuna, because Arjuna is a highly educated person. So you will now see wonderful arguments coming out of Arjuna's mind, his intellect. And actually a novice in reading the Gita will actually feel Arjuna has got a valid point, and these arguments are so valid that the war should not have gone ahead. A novice in reading this. Arjuna's arguments from here end are going to be very clever trickery of his own intellect to justify a highly emotional situation he's experiencing. And this is something all of us do. The more educated you become, the more you fall into this trap of convincing yourself about your own illusions. We will deal with this tomorrow, final day, and we'll see how to analyze and deduce whether or not your intellect is actually fooling yourself and how to avoid that. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.